my colleagues at DICE and friends. I am between you and your cup of coffee, and keeping in view experience of last 2 days, I have kept my presentation very short. At the outset, this is a new subject for me because I am not like my colleagues here on the dais from IPS or from Indian Army. I had a stint in administrative service and never worked in home department. However, I have given a try of how technology can be used for making our cities, our society more safe. Now, I needed some photographs to put here. And you will see on one side is a very celebrated officer of Delhi police who died fighting with terrorists in Delhi. And on the other hand, we have photograph of a constable from one of our CPOs who are again fighting people from Jammu and Kashmir to Dantewada to all these places. So I thought, let me put these and their controlling senior officers whom we salute for keep making us safe and secure. Now, what I'm going to do to show you few scenarios where if we use technology properly, we can have much better and a secured environment. In this case, a girl sees an unfriendly person who is following her, and she calls up a control room center. And they immediately turn on a particular camera which is located there. She has given her location, and they see who this person is, match it with the information they have on this person in their control room and their database, alert the nearest PCR, what we call PCR here, and they comprehend him. Now, this is one scenario, and there are lots of things which have been used, which Mr. Krishna talked about when he introduced the system, where one, seamless communication between various agencies and also various kinds of systems. Then you have a database of people, or especially of such unfriendly people, which you can immediately call and compare with. And then immediately you can give control, command to your PCR vehicles to come to the location and comprehend. Of course, the response time of 3 seconds, which my friend Sanjay said, will be too much to expect, but at least they come here and they will not be like what we see in the Hindi movies. The next scenario. This is a shopping mall, and a blast takes place there. Now, the first thing which needs to be done is, which gets done automatically, the cameras there, which are intelligent, they focus there, all the nearest cameras. And the feed goes to the police control room. Now, also, from the police control room, if they have preset number of people who will get information, like the Home Secretary, DGP, District Magistrate, SP, Fire Department, Ambulance, everyone gets communicated through the telephone line, by SMS, if they are on wireless, through wireless. And suppose the CM is not in the headquarters and a similar kind of event or something much bigger has happened where he needs to talk to people like the constable there located who has just reached. He is in a remote location. Now he has a command and control system which is moving, and it immediately gets set up, and he is able to communicate, in fact, with a video camera or a camera in his mobile phone. The police constable can, in fact, even show what's happening. Now, the officers in the control room, or the superintendent of police, or the IG police like Sanjay or Mr. Krishna, they will be able to give better command to the local units, and even the information can be passed on to reserve units, reserve battalions, to rush people. And again, this role of ICT comes, which roads they should take. Suppose there may be a jam on a particular road, so how they should reach there. So ultimate basic aim is, how do we improve response time, inform all the decision makers, and they can collaborate and take the most optimum decision based on the situation. So, so how does, and also in the previous one, the people who are there, people who are available there in this shopping mall or shopping area like M Block GK1, how do they escape from there? So all the digital media display systems today we have, in fact you can see here outside, lots of TV screens are there. They could be told that this is the escape route, you please get out of this place immediately. And all these are connected on one network. And this is the kind of command and control unit. In fact, this is a photograph of our command control unit in Bangalore, from where 300 buildings located in 300 different cities are controlled by just 3 people. Any window or door, if it remains open, they come to know on the screen, and they can then talk to the people, security in charge, they can rush people there, they can make announcements sitting from there, and they can do many more things. Now, going back to the earlier scenario, how do they communicate? We heard of one particular kind of solution called Tetra. Now, there are other solutions called IPIX, which stands for Interoperability and Collaboration System. And I'll just show you that little bit more, the conceptual diagram, how it actually happens. Now, before that, achieving this particular kind of response system in our police organizations and homeland security systems, we need to see what are the barriers for effective response. One is delayed information, delayed detection, lack of coordination. I mean, all these points were pointed out by the earlier speakers. And then we have siloed or disconnected, not reachable, not shared intelligence systems or information. So what do we do? How do we take care of these things? And that could be if we integrate them, make it open, rather use open standard systems, and so that we can reuse the information to improve our return on investment and also our timeline. Now, so how does it happen? And that can happen only when we go for open systems and bring everything on IP network. And that will enable us to ensure that things like what happened in 2611, when they took control of the control room of Taj, there was no way we could get any picture from all the cameras located outside. Now, if it was on IP, even if you take control of the control room located inside that building, you can immediately shift the control room somewhere else. Like I gave example that all the 300 locations worldwide are controlled from one. And that shifts 3 times in a day, from San Jose, Australia, and then to Bangalore. Now, same thing can happen even if the terrorist or such elements, they take control of one, or they take control of some of the cameras, they cut, others are available, and that you can take it outside. Mr. Krishna talked about a very important innovative thing, that large number of private buildings have cameras, and they are providing information. In fact, this talk is going on, how can we bring them on one network so that police and law enforcement authorities can have access. And that can only happen if all of them operate on open systems. Then only you can have, and then on the fly you can assign control or access to a particular camera to a particular agency. So fixing standards is very important. In fact, my friend from IBM, he talked about address systems. How will we, so that you can immediately know on this address. Do we have a standard of writing addresses in our systems? No, we don't have today. In fact, that's one of the major bottlenecks today. If you give an address, and the same address could be written in different databases in different formats. So how do you compare? And that has not happened because we don't have any standard for writing addresses. So these are some of the requirements, and we had suggested to Mr. Nandan Nilekani and his team that while they are doing UID data collection, this should also be made part of that, so that addresses at least become a standard. And we are going to tomorrow verify address also from that. So I'll not take much time on this. Basically the same presentation of what I suggested earlier, that bringing everything on one internet protocol based system, we can achieve this kind of better response system, whether it's a telephony or it's wireless system or a mobile incident command system or even radio networks. Everything can be brought. We heard one name called Tetra. I gave another name called IPIX. So the lessons are that first few hours are most critical time for communication, and we need to reduce it as much as possible. And there should be situational awareness by commanders at different places for deploying resources, and our ability to rapidly communicate and collaborate, which again brings the role of open standards and using interoperable technologies. And last and not least, the technology has to be simple to deploy and operate by non-technical persons. That's very, very important. Otherwise, we can have very complex system, and my constable on the field, he will not know how to operate. So it has to be very, very simple, the handset which he uses, and it has to be rugged, battery powered, etc. Now, the chairman had asked me to talk a little bit about disaster management, because before I left the government, I was working in a ministry which was directly involved with this. Now, let's take example of earthquake. Earthquake happens and takes place, and our entire normal communication system gets destroyed. Now, the immediate requirement there is to put in place a communication system which provides a way for all the authorities, whether it's police authorities, medical authorities, NGOs, etc., so that they can talk, communicate. Now, how quickly we can do it? In fact, for some of the disaster management authorities of other countries, in fact, this particular thing which you see on the screen here was designed after Katrina experiment. In fact, our people had set up the control room very quickly, and now this kind of system is available which can be driven immediately to the affected area. They have around 1,000 pre-numbered sets which is given, and in fact, one can have standards like one number will go to such and such authority, number three, so right up to the SHO and the people, so similarly for ambulance and others. And it gets set up immediately, not only for internal CUG kind of communication, but also with other networks through satellite. So you have also on the top satellite, so you get into a GSM network or other network of BSNL and other service providers, and you provide immediate quick service to or connectivity to all those who are involved in disaster management system. And of course, these have their own power systems. The handsets are much rugged, have longer battery life, and things like that. And these were designed in consultation with disaster management authorities. Anything else, Chairman, you would like to? Because there is no time. So thank you very much for your time.